Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-da ba-ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba-da-da-dum bum bum ba-da-da-da-dum. Hello, my friends. Hello, all my new mighties, all my old mighties. Joette's Mighty members. I love it. Hello, Pat from Michigan, and Tina from the UK, and Bonnie from Topeka, and Terry from Madison. Hello, Linda from Georgia, and Carla from Plymouth, Wisconsin, and good evening, Carmen in Missouri, and Maggie from Toledo, and Bonnie from Fort Myers, Florida. It's wonderful to see you all. And those are all my mighty friends. Now I'm going to look at Facebook people. Hello, my Facebook friends. Wonderful to see you all. Love this. Love every Monday night. I love this. You love this. We all love this because we need each other, my friends. We need to link arms. We need to be together because homeopathy and taking your health into your own hands. I mean, really, knowing your medicines is a unique concept for most people. Most people think, know your medicines. What medicines? I'll just go to the doctor. Well, if that's of your thinking, then that's okay. But that's not what we do here. What we do here is I teach you how to use homeopathy in the best way possible, the easiest method, which is practical homeopathy using protocols. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Joette Calabrese, and I'm a homeopath for over now it's close to 36 and a half years, I would say, that I've been using homeopathy. And and I raised my three sons who are now adults using only homeopathy and good quality nutrition, as far as I'm concerned, homemade foods, nutrient dense, and guts, spunk, and moxie. This was given to me by a student, and I'm just so grateful for it. It's so lovely. Guts, spunk, moxie. Guts, spunk, and moxie. That's what it takes, my friends. You can't do this without having curiosity, number one, fed up to your station tubes with the garbage that has been fed to us for so long with drug after drug after drug after drug, and then test, invasive test, drug. So that has to be the ilk that from which you come. Because if you are happy with conventional drugs, conventional medicine, then this is probably not the place for you. And for those of you who are new, that's already said that. For those of you who already know me, welcome, my friends. It's so wonderful to see you all. Yeah, St. Paul, Minnesota is Sandy and Jody, and New Jersey comes Carol Martin. It's wonderful to see everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight. It's always great to see you all. Excuse me. So, we're going to talk tonight about what you do if you don't know what to do. What do you do when there is no yes, thank you. And you know what else I need is that bioplasma that's sitting in there on the counter. A bottle of bioplasma. What do we do? You already have a hint because I just asked Perry to get it for me because I'd forgotten. Yes, good. Thank you very much. Um, what do we do? I mean, that's such a broad question, right? What are we talking about? Are we talking about getting hit by a Zamboni and we don't know what to do after an accident? What do we do what if we get a headache? What do we do because we can't think straight and we're having a panic attack? How about a concern about not knowing what to do because suddenly we feel, oh, my lungs are getting, I feel something coming on in my lungs. Excuse me. What do we do if we're observing our pet getting very sick, vomiting relentlessly, diarrhea, etc.? Yeah, my Zamboni. I know. I know. Thank you, students, for sending this to me. I love this little Zamboni. Buffalo Sabres, it says. What do we do when we don't know what to do? When our brains, as I often say, turn to mush. Why would our brains turn to mush? Well, for obvious reasons. When we are freaking out, when we've just witnessed an atrocity and it has something to do with someone that we care for, that we need to take care of, or we feel something coming on really strong and hard and fast, how are we going to approach this? So, particularly because we've got this beautiful Materia Medica by Robin Murphy, and it's replete with homeopathic medicines for every condition known to mankind. And there are over 2,600 pages, and the pages are, it's Bible paper. So it's very thin, high quality paper. And the reason it's thin is because if you had a regular stack of pages, and the paper stock, you would find this book would probably be twice as thick, and that's obviously too cumbersome. So we have lots and lots of choices. So what I want to do, look at you, ladies, look at where you're going here, my mighties. You are chef's kiss brilliant. I love it. So one of my sons used to be a Zamboni driver and an ice skating rink, says Deborah. Come on. It's so much fun because unless you're from Canada or, Northeast US, you're not going to know what a Zamboni is, most likely. There's those machines that run over the ice and ice rinks for hockey games and ice skating in general. So the thing is, if you don't know what's coming on, you feel, uh-oh, or, oh my gosh, I've just had an accident. Oh my gosh, I've severed my finger, or oh my goodness, what are we going to do about this person's having a panic attack? Or how do we need some very basic tools, simple homeopathic tools to keep on hand at all times in our handbag, in our purse, in our briefcase, in the diaper bag, in the car, in the house at all times. So, this is the way that I think. Because it could be anything, and if it's something that's coming on hard and fast, you guys are way ahead of me, right? You're already thinking ahead of me. It's so beautiful. Hi, Kathy from Ireland, and Oya from Australia, and Tara from Australia. It's wonderful to see everyone. We have to have something that we can count on is going to act quickly. It's going to will not interfere with meds, right? Homeopathic medicines don't interfere with drugs. Oh, nay, nay, my friends. They do not interfere. Now, drugs can interfere with homeopathy because they can render them incomprehensible. In other words, if somebody is using a drug, we don't know whether or not that person is not feeling pain because the homeopathic medicine is acting and lifting it from the suffering, or is it something that is being tamped down with oxycodone, for example? So we need something that is safe, relatively safe. Homeopathic medicines are relatively safe. We have to use them with some prudence. Relatively safe, certainly ridiculously inexpensive. These medicines are absurdly inexpensive. We have to have something that will last. We can keep it in our purse that can last for many, many, many months, if not years. We have to have something that is obviously effective. If it's not effective, what's the point, right? We've got to have something that's going to work well. And we need something that is easily understood. So we're looking for that criteria. And I would say homeopathy fits all of that. And one of my best medicines for a shock, a forthcoming cold or something respiratory coming on, feeling after the Zamboni runs you over, if you've witnessed an atrocity, if you've just gotten really bad news, if you've witnessed trauma, you've experienced trauma, you don't know what to do. You're having a panic attack. Suddenly, going over a bridge becomes an event that is too frightening to be able to handle. The medicine is, and many of you already know, is aconitum. Aconitum, just the way it sounds. Why is it just the way it sounds, my friends? Because these medicines are Latin words, because that is the language of medicine, and homeopathy is medicine. It's not black market. Uh-uh. It's not something that the FDA knows nothing about. No, the FDA regulates it, as well as other regulatory bodies throughout the world and in the US. It is something, this aconitum is something that can be used across the board. Now, we can call it aconite for short. We can call it aconitum using only its first word, or we can use the second word as well, aconitum napellus. So no matter how you read it, how you say it, how you see it, it is aconite, aconitum, aconitum napellus. All the same medicine, just different, just abbreviations. The first two are abbreviations of sorts. Yes. So, what I want you to think about is aconitum and what potency? I say aconitum 200. Aconitum napellus 200. I think you can see that, right? Can you see that? Turn it this way. Aconitum 200. This happens to be CK. Aconitum C. Aconitum X. 200X. Aconitum 200C. Aconitum 200CK. Aconitum 200CH. All very good. You bet. And so a dose. Then how do we know what a dose is? Well, we already know because you look at you read the bottle. How many pills comprise a dose? We use what it says on the bottle. Can you get away, my friends, with one pill of this aconitum napellus 200 CK? You could get away with it, and it may indeed work. For many people, it does. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But if I were hit by a Zamboni, or my child was, or my husband was in an accident, I don't think I would test out whether or not one pill would work. I would go with a complete dose. Why? Because we know that these pills have been tested, that the most frequent use, let's see if I can put this properly, that it has been found that more consistently using 4 to 5 pills as one dose becomes more consistently available as the medicine is being absorbed. You can get away with 3. Yeah. Listen, if you're treating some hair loss, your hair's getting a little thin along the sides and you're a little worried about it, then use the medicine, not aconitum. Use the homeopathic medicine that's specific for hair loss. Take one pill, give it a try. Well, no great, nothing lost. Well, except perhaps your hair if the one pill doesn't act. But if it's something that's important, my friends, don't play around. Don't play pharmacist. I mean that. Don't be the pharmacist. The pharmacists have already figured it out. I trust them. Not only do I trust them because I've seen it work over and over and over through the years, but I know them. I actually know the pharmacists who manufacture these medicines throughout the U.S. And in England, Great Britain. So back to aconitum 200. So how often would you use it? Well, we would use one dose, and if we feel the difference, we feel like, oh, the panic is calming down. Oh, the angst is melting away. If we see that that's what's happened after one dose, we don't need the second dose right away until the angst, the worry, the breathlessness, the panic, whatever else is happening starts to rise again. Then what do? Do we say, oh, well, that medicine didn't work. Look, it's coming back. No, my friends, it's an indication that the medicine needs to be repeated. At what point does it need to be repeated? At that point. At that point, when you see that the value of the symptoms that have been dropped down, or the value of the medicine has dropped down the symptoms enough, and then it starts to creep back up again, it's time to take another dose. Aconitum Nipalis, 200 again. If that's 15 minutes from the first dose, it's 15 minutes from the first dose. If it's a half hour, it's a half hour away. If it's an hour away, it's an hour away. If it's 5 hours away, it's 5 hours away. You are in charge. Why? Because you need to be so astute. This is what this medicine does. It requires astuteness. It requires attention to detail. It requires that you pay attention to your loved one or even yourself. You need to be in charge. That's what this is all about anyway, isn't it? We have to put ourselves back in charge, take it away from governmental bodies, take it away from big industry, take it away from professions unless absolutely necessary. Okay, I understand there are times when someone is required to help us figure this out or to take care of us when we don't know what to do. But I'm going to teach you so much that there will come a time in your life, if you take this seriously and you study and you join Gateway to Homeopathy with our study group, or you have your materia medica by your side and you learn how to use these medicines, or you own this repertory, or you join the academy, or you just simply study Facebook Live when I make these presentations and my blog. You are in charge more than you think you are, more than you realize, my friends. All right. What size from Helios? What size what? What size pills? Pills are pills. You read the outside and it tells you how many pills are a dose. Whether it's a size 40, it's a size 10, it matters not. The point is, there it is. It tells you exactly how many pills to take as a dose. All right. Aconitum Nipalis. Gorgeous medicine for forthcoming cold. It will, someone who is prone to uh, uh, pneumonia, that aconitum, you take that. I've just seen it too many times, my friends. Prone to bronchitis, a dose of that every 15 minutes, for example, because the person feels that sensation. They say, uh-oh, here comes that bronchitis again. Uh-oh, I have had this feeling before. Every time I get pneumonia, here it comes. I've seen it too many times where once it's used and then every 15 minutes, bam, goodbye pneumonia. Not only for that event, but it's quite likely, my friends, that pneumonia, which was coming every 3 months, because it does happen to some people, will stop coming every 3 months. And at the first sign of it happening again, what do? Bam, again. Aconitum Nipalis 200C. See how this works? This is not covering up symptoms, my friends. That's not what homeopathy does. It doesn't cover the symptoms up. It uproots the condition that causes the symptoms to present. Symptoms are only signs. That's all they are signs. And so the sign is to tell you, for example, when the light goes red in your car and it says, check engine, check engine, check engine, does that mean you just go in there, cut the scissors, or get the scissors and cut the wire because you just don't want to be bothered with the symptoms? That's what conventional drugs do for these kinds of conditions. No, what we're doing is we're going to check the engine and we're going to use the medicine that's going to uproot the problem so that the red light no longer needs to be warning us, giving us a sign that something is off. Okay, someone says, I've heard of people making their own pellets with a frequency machine. What is this? It's something I would not play with, to be honest. I've been doing this for a long time. I've had plenty of opportunities to own one of those machines and use them. I buy my medicines. Why? Because I'm not a pharmacist and I don't believe in that method. I believe in the method of buying it from people who have devoted their lives as pharmacists to really know exactly what they're getting. Exactly what they're getting. If it says calendula, it's calendula. It's not some frequency. And what I always ask is, folks, for those people who are considering using a machine, ask the person who's selling it how they know what the frequencies are. Where does this information come from? I can't get a straight answer. I just can't get any information on it. And when something is, I don't know, undivulged, it makes me question. Am I going to tell you that those machines can't work? I'm not going to tell you that. But what I am going to tell you is that I put my hands in people who really have been studying this for, 30 years of their lives, these homeopathic pharmacists. I know them personally, as I said. I know those in the US, and I am delighted to know them. And so I trust them. Let's put it that way. So do what you want to do. That's not the way I think. It's up to you how you want to go about doing that. I was told by a homeopath that these machines are not considered homeopathic medicines. Well, that's the way I kind of look at it too. That's well, you've gotten my opinion on it. So aconitum, 200C. When a bottle of a medicine costs what, 13, 14, $15, and all you need is a few doses to abort the potential of pneumonia coming on, where are we going here? We're going to buy a machine and kind of play pharmacist? I would not do that. I would not do that. All right, what's another medicine? Let's talk about another one. And I know that I know that you're going to come up with this. I know you're going to come up with the next one that I would choose. And the next one is Arnica montana. Now, what's interesting about Arnica montana is when I first started to learn about homeopathy in 1986, my parents, who are now gone, we lived next door to my parents, and I spent every waking moment with my mother and my father too. And my mother heard me talking about the remedy Arnica montana because I was just learning about these medicines. And so it's fascinating because my mother just remembered that name, never listened to anything more than I said about it. I had bought her a kit, a homeopathy kit, and there was Arnica right there. I think it was maybe the third medicine in the kit. And she had difficulty falling asleep, so she started to take Arnica montana. And about a month after starting it, she was taking it nightly, 30th potency. About a month after having started it, she said, "Wow, this arnica is really great." I said, "What are you using arnica for, Mom?" She said, "Oh, for my sleep." Now, I had never heard of that being used in that fashion before. And so I said, "Arnica for sleep?" Well, my mother taught me something. Someone brand new to homeopathy who really hadn't paid much attention. And she was using it for sleep. Arnica montana can also be very calming. It's great for overuse of the body when someone has been incapable of falling asleep, having overworked the body, flying one flight after another flight, travel, that jet lag sensation. Arnica montana, I always use the 200 for that. Arnica montana can be for menstrual cramps. It can be for labor pains and after labor. It can be for vascular issues such as varicosities, for great for when a tooth is extracted, after surgery, before surgery. It is such a powerful, sweeping medicine that it can be used for. I'm trying to think of some other issues. You're gonna help me out with this. I know you're gonna come up with other ideas. Uh, Arnica montana for hemorrhoids, for bloody nose, for soft tissue injuries. When the seatbelt is across the chest and there's an accident and the seatbelt goes driving into the breast, for soft tissue injuries. Arnica montana for head injuries. So Arnica has a lot to do with injuries, but not always. As you see, I'm talking also about hemorrhoids and labor pain, etc. Yes, Joel De Oliveira takes Arnica every day in the 30th potency in his water dosage. Absolutely. Menstrual bleeding. Absolutely. It is For skin, for acne, put it in water and spray it on the face for acne, for eczema, for rashes that are itchy, for abscesses. Thank you, Leanne. It goes on and on and on. The uses for of the use of Arnica montana in 30s and 200 potencies. It's an excellent medicine. I happen to have the Arnica montana 200. The light is glaring on it. There we go. Arnica montana 200 CK. Gorgeous. These are medicines that you should keep in your purse. Now I have a third one that I want to share with you. Sunburn. Absolutely, sunburn. Yes. I have one more, and that is bioplasma. Bioplasma is 12 cell salts mixed together. And it's when someone is greatly fatigued, they are dehydrated, they're sick from a cold or a flu. For when there's diarrhea, vomiting, they are 12 cell salts mixed together. It's wonderful for older people who are not eating properly. Maybe they have cachexia. They have a low appetite. This is a wonderful medicine. I don't use it necessarily for very long-term use, although I have in the past. I haven't done it so much recently. I use it more for colds and coughs and depletion, etc. Now, someone asking about fifth grader, and I don't know what that means exactly, what the question is, but let me point out that when it says to use 5 pills, 3 to 5 pills, 3 pills, say, for a small child and 5 pills for an adult, do exactly as it says, my friends. You want to do as it says, all righty? You bet. Wonderful stuff coming in tonight. Love what you're all saying. Listen, my friends, this is important that you share this. You need to share this with your neighbors, your relatives, your friends. And if you keep aconitum and arnica in your purse, I generally don't keep arnica in my purse. I don't go out much, to be honest. My husband and I go out for dinner. Sometimes we go out for a drive just to get to know the area because we've moved to Florida recently, to get to know the streets and the area. But Arnica montana is also a very good thing to have on hand. I kept Arnica montana more frequently in my purse when my children were young because they would fall from monkey bars at the park, or they'd fall off their bike, etc., etc. Let us see what kind of questions we have. I give it to my plants. It helps with bugs and keeps the plant healthy. Which one are you giving, Dolly? Are you giving arnica? Or are you giving the cell salts, the bioplasma? I have used bioplasma for my oak tree and up north, and I've used it for my palm tree down here that is not doing so well. But it seems to be doing all right, especially when you're on the slopes. Arnica montana for on the slopes. I insisted that my children, when they used to ski, they still ski, but as young children, I insisted that they keep Arnica montana 200C, and sometimes I would have them hold it in a higher potency in their ski jacket so that if their brother was harmed on the slope, if he had an injury, they knew exactly what to do. They would go directly up to the brother and drop the remedy directly into the mouth. A snowboarder hit me at 25 miles an hour, and I took Arnica right away. Yes. Oh, those snowboarders. They come from the dark side. They're not skiers. Great for tree fungus or unhealthy tree of plants. I use bioplasma in a spray bottle with water for my plants. It works great. Yes, bioplasma is really wonderful for plants. I keep pyrogenium in my purse, says Rebecca. I had sepsis when I was younger, and boy, did I get messed up by the antibiotics. Pyrogenium, very good for infections, not generally a sinus infection so much. We're talking about sepsis, blood infections, those infections to the bone, infections on the skin, etc. Um, all righty. Good points. You guys are great. Yes. We use 3 pellets very successfully, but in extreme situations, it's a 4 to a 5. I've tried 1 or 2 pills. So has my husband, and it never seems effective. Same with dissolving in water and only taking a teaspoon at a time. But we have always found that a full water, let's see what else you're saying, Leslie. Full water remedy works wonders using the full amount of pellets and drinking the entire dose. When you're using these remedies in water, you use an entire dose. Do you understand? An entire dose. Harry, they used to limit snowboarders to one area. Now they scrape the snow and hit skiers. All right, my friends. See you next week. I love to read your comments. I love your questions. Is bioplasma known by another name? Sometimes it's all 12 cell salts, and if you look up 12 cell salts in one medicine, you might come across a different name for it as well. Biochemic biochemic salts is another way of saying bioplasma. All right, my friends, have a wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week. Bye now.